Ethereum is doing everything right and finally getting noticed. Bitcoin set the tone with new all-time highs, but over the past 2 weeks, Ethereum's been stealing the show. It just pumped over 35% and broke through 3800, which means Ethereum left BTC behind for once. So now the big question is back on the table. Could Ethereum actually make a run for 10K in 2025? Welcome back to Captain Altcoin, where we actually look at what's going on under the hood. Today I am talking about Ethereum, its breakout move, ETH flows, and whether 10K in 2025 is starting to look less like a fantasy and more like a real possibility. Let's start with what just happened. Ethereum has been underperforming Bitcoin for over a year, until now. Over the past 10-15 days, Ethereum pumped 35%, jumping from around 2,800 to 3,800, while Bitcoin stayed flat. However, it got rejected at 3,800 and corrected to the current levels around 3,500. The Ethereum and Bitcoin ratio is finally picking up, which we haven't seen in a long time. Ethereum dominance is starting to recover too after hitting multi-year lows earlier this year. Just a few weeks ago, Ethereum was still 40% below its all-time high. Now, it's less than 25% away, and momentum is building fast. This might be Ethereum's first real shot at catching up this cycle. The Ethereum spot ETFs went live in mid-2024 and they've been gaining steady traction. In June 2025 alone, Ethereum ETFs pulled in over 1.1 billion in net inflows. Compare that to Bitcoin's 4.5 billion and Ethereum's holding its ground. And in July, Ethereum ETFs got over 5.4 billion inflows. That was the best month since the launch. BlackRock, Fidelity, Grayscale, they're all in. Let's talk about those big Ethereum targets again. Standard Chartered says 14,000 by the end of 2025. VanEck's looking for 6,000. Cathie Wood's ARK is predicting 8,000. And crypto voices like Anthony Sassano, they're talking about 15,000. Before, I said 10K felt like a stretch. But now, after this breakout and with real strength behind it, I think it's back on the table. If momentum keeps building and institutions pile in, 10K is absolutely possible in this cycle. But there's still a structural issue. Most of the action is on layer 2s, not Ethereum mainnet. Base, Arbitrum, Optimism, they're exploding. Base alone has over 30 million monthly active wallets. But those users aren't paying much to Ethereum anymore. Since the Dankun upgrade, gas fees dropped to basically nothing, which is great for users but bad for Ethereum fee revenue. For example, Base made around $94 million in revenue but paid less than $5 million to Ethereum. Ethereum's helping everyone else and not capturing the value. That's why Ethereum burns are down, staking rewards are weak, and tokenomics still need work. Traders are bullish despite that. Derivative traders are betting big on Ethereum. On CME, Ethereum futures open interest jumping over 180% in the last 3 months. In fact, Ethereum futures had a higher premium than Bitcoin, a sign that big traders are leaning bullish. Option markets are showing the same thing. Most traders are buying calls, not puts, especially around 3K to 6K range for the second half of 2025. Some are placing spreads that target 5K or more by December, and that's starting to look more likely now. So, here's my take. Ethereum's price action just flipped bullish. The breakout above is real, and I think this might be the beginning of its catch-up move. There's still work to do, especially on L2 value capture and tokenomics. But with ETFs flowing, options heating up, and sentiment shifting, I think 10K Ethereum in 2025 is no longer a fantasy. We need to clear 4.9K first, the previous all-time high, and then 6K is next. And from there, 10K is not out of reach. Let me know in the comments. Has Ethereum finally flipped the switch? Smash the like button, subscribe to Captain Altcoin, and ring the bell for more deep dive crypto updates. Catch you in the next one.